that there's less structure most of the time, like in a college classroom. Can I take that as though you mean less structured as in it's going to be more talking and more communication in the classroom as opposed to like a different, maybe like using a textbook or something? Can you go in a little bit more detail about that? Because I think I know where you're heading, but can you talk about that?
Yeah. My first thought was, did I say less structured?
Well, I didn't take it
I wonder if I
negatively.
didn't say, you can go back and fact check me. I wonder if I didn't say I felt more free in the
Okay.
college classroom, but I think largely that was a function of kind of my interest in the material. But I think every faculty member, every professor is going to be different, right? And so I think, you know, what to expect in the college classroom too is that it's an opportunity to develop your interpersonal skills, and to part of your success is going to be your ability to listen really well to what is important to this person, and your ability to look at a syllabus and to figure out what's required of you. And so those two things, listening really well to see what's important, because every professor is going to have their thing, right? You know, whether it's coming in late or whether it's speaking out of turn, and usually they'll tell you these things. So you just have to kind of listen really well. But back to structure, yeah, I don't know if I can say that. I think what I meant by that is there's a lot more opportunity, I think, in college. Like if I had to just compare, like, the major differences between high school and college courses. High school to me, and again, I've taught both too. So high school is more, and again, I'm generalizing.
Mhm.
High school is more like, here's the content, learn it, memorize it. Here's what's going to be on the test. Maybe there's some time for discussion, but it felt much more rigid to me, based on going to the 7 different classes a day and moving up to this, and it was kind of formulaic. So when I said less structured, I think what I meant by that is you dial up your thinking. And this is sometimes a really tough transition if you've kind of turned off your thinking and you're not used to dialogue in the classroom. In fact, you feel kind of like well in the bottom of your belly anytime you want to speak in front of a group. So that'll be challenged in college, where you're expected to speak in front of your peers, or to have an opinion, or to disagree with your professor. Like, that's actually welcome here, as opposed to, where there might not be time and space for that in high school. And then explaining why you disagree, being able, like, what's the nuance in the argument, or why is that, or that's interesting. So really those types of discussions, I think, felt less structured, in the sense that you might say it's more structured in regards to how you're structuring the class from the professor's standpoint. But for the student, it felt like there was more room to roam, and not everybody appreciates that. Not everybody likes that. And so I would also say college is like chess. High school is more checkers in regards to the possibilities of what to expect in class. So you really got to open your mind to, hey, this feels a little uncomfortable, but trust your ability to walk through. You wouldn't be in that classroom. You wouldn't have been accepted to that university if you weren't supposed to be there. So I don't know, this kind of ties in with what we were talking about earlier too, about just, just taking more responsibility. I think as you age and as you age up and develop, I think taking responsibility for your learning kind of ties in more to like the college route, where you may not be, you may not be spoon-fed things as much in regards to, hey, turn this in on this day, and like you show up to class, oh, I need this from you. Like, I feel like there's a lot less of that. There's more kind of like, hey, we expect you to get it in, and we may not ask you, and it's kind of on you to figure that out. If I had to say, what would I, or if you, what would I say if you were going to prepare now for a college course? I would say this, that ask this question of yourself. Am I relying on the teacher to tell me what to do? Or am I on top of it enough to where I can already know what's coming and I can anticipate what he or she's going to ask for and when? Your answer to that question will correlate to your success in the college classroom.
Wow.
So what I'm speaking to in those questions is, I think, taking the reins back. You've had a lot of high school teachers that have kind of like said, hey, I need this from you, and you haven't stepped into that role of, no, I'm in charge of this class. This is what I'd like to learn from you, professor, kind of taking the responsibility. It's just a total mind shift. And I think when you, when you do it in sport all the time,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, think about playing time. Those that typically want to play end up playing because they're going to put it. So it's kind of like transferring that mindset to the classroom. It's kind of like, you know, can I be competitive enough to transfer that mentality over to the chair in the classroom? Mm-hmm. And not for anybody else, but for yourself. I think that's not an easy thing, what I've said, for many people, but I think that's the goal.
Yeah, yeah. Really good. Great sound advice. I think our student athletes will get a lot from that. Let's switch